You know, people always say, oh, anime live action, it can't be done, it looks bad. Anime just doesn't translate into live action well, they should just stop making movies and Netflix shows and stuff like that, etc., etc. Well, what about sports anime? Let's talk about it. So this idea actually came up to me because I just recently rewatched Hajime no Ippo, one of my favorite sports anime of all time. It is a great anime. I highly recommend all of you guys watch it. You know, I'm watching Hajime no Ippo, right? I'm sitting there watching these characters box and everything, right? And then I'm thinking to myself, like, wait, why couldn't this be in live action? Like when people say, oh, you know, anime live action, it should never be done. Well, like, are those people just stupid? What about sports anime? I mean, we've had sports movies. We've had plenty of sports movies. Now, me personally, I'm not a sports movie guy. I'm not even a sports guy at all. I think sports are super boring. But sports anime though? Sports anime do be hitting. Hajime no Ippo being a prime example. That one might be top 10 for me, honestly. But I love sports anime. I mean, Kuroko no Basket is fire, Prince of Tennis is fire, iShield 21 is fire, countless other shows. Sports anime just really hits. It just hits different. But when we think about it, sports anime are based on sports, which are played in real life, which is the base foundation of live action. So why do people think that a sports anime live action wouldn't work? Like, it doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't a sports anime live action work when the anime itself is based on reality, sports, entertainment, which is primarily in live action, not necessarily films and filmmaking, but I mean, if you watch like matches, boxing matches, football games and stuff, that is live action. It's just more so a live broadcasting. It's a sports broadcast, right? But it's still live action. It's just not in the form of a film. But we do also have sports films. The few that I have seen, I remember they made me watch The Blind Side when I was in like 3rd grade or something like that. You know, of course, I've seen Rocky. Speaking on the subject of Rocky, there's actually a song in the Hajime no Ippo OST original soundtrack that is heavily inspired by the song that everyone knows from Rocky. The song from the Ippo OST is called Stand Proud, and it definitely has the Rocky music vibes for sure. But yeah, it's funny how people will be like, oh well, anime shouldn't be translated into live action, but like when there are certain animes that literally take from live action. So an anime live action should work because it's a live action of an anime that's also taking from live action. So why wouldn't it work? And this is where I think you really start to see people that just don't know too much about anime or don't really watch anime. Like the people that say anime live action can never be done, it's like they're speaking as if sports anime don't exist, or like all anime is just one thing. And I hated those people. I absolutely hated all those people growing up. Those are the same people that thought all anime was weird, all anime is hentai, all anime is for kids, all anime is this and that, etc. years and years ago. And of course now that anime is trending, anime is popular, they're all into it. It's the cool thing to be into now. But back then, if you liked anime, you're super weird. And it's like, okay, those are those people that don't realize anime is just art. It's just shows. And there's tons and tons of different animes in different categories. There's an anime out there for everyone. There's sports anime, there's slice of life anime, there's action anime, there's noir anime, there's all kinds of anime. And yeah, when people talk about anime live action as if it can't be done, it's just really honestly insulting to anime as a whole. And you know, you just start to see that those are the people that really don't know what they're talking about, really don't watch that much anime, and still don't really even know what it is as a whole. But yeah, so that got me thinking. We're gonna talk about like specific techniques, for example, because I know there's still some of y'all thinking like, oh well, the anime and the animation techniques that they use for a lot of plays or action sequences that happen in the sports anime might hit different when it comes to live action or whatever like that, and it won't translate well. And like that would still be your guys' argument for like it's still not translating to live action well or whatever. But my counter argument to that is, well, let's take an example from Hajime no Ippo. Pretty early on in the series, so it's not really a spoiler or anything like that. But one of the characters, Mashiba, who Ippo has to fight, his technique that he uses with his boxing, he uses a lot of flicker jabs. And it is a very obscure and interesting technique that I've never seen and that I wouldn't normally think a boxer would use to box. But the way they do it in the anime is actually really cool and looks really sick, right? And that's something that if you see it in anime, you would think, oh, can they do that in live action? Because his arm moves so fast and it's like twisting and kind of stretching at the same time, it looks a little bizarre. But the reason the animation studios do that is so they can diversify, differentiate, the boxing. Because if the animators just draw people boxing and make it look super realistic, the punches would be harder to tell what's different and what's not. And with something like anime where things can get super exaggerated and go to the next level, of course we'd want to see something like that for something as maybe not as complicated as a flicker jab in real life. But the thing is, if we saw this character Mashiba doing flicker jabs in a live action movie, sure, it wouldn't look exactly how it looks in the anime, but you guys gotta remember, the anime is based on live action. So we would actually see this character Mashiba doing flicker jabs in real life, in live action. And I think that would honestly be a treat and really sick to see. Because yeah, we see the anime version of that, but you gotta remember that this is still boxing. So even though it looks cool, it almost takes you out of the reality that this is still people throwing hands at each other a little bit, right? But with something like a live action, you would actually get to see a flicker jab performed in real life. Because I think that's also something that's pretty cool about sports anime is that when you see the moves pulled off in a lot of them, they look super cool, super flashy, but a lot of them are based on real life sports techniques, and you don't really get to see them in real life unless you look it up online or something like that. So an anime live action movie of a sports anime could really give you that opportunity to see some of these moves performed in real life. And I think that would add a whole new perspective and a whole new appreciation for not only the sports and the technique itself, but just seeing the character pull off that move or seeing the team pull off what they did in a clutch situation but in real life instead of the anime adaptation. So yeah, I think it would be really cool to compare a flicker jab in the anime versus a flicker jab in live action and just kind of see the difference. Because some of the moves I saw in Hajime no Ippo, I definitely wanted to look up in real life how they actually perform. Because with anime, they definitely have to, like I said, exaggerate it and make it, animated. So, which is the cool thing about anime. But again, it also would be really cool to see it in live action, compare the two. And I think what this would do is really allow people to appreciate both sides of the perspective, because again, this is an anime technique that is based on live action. So getting to see it recreated in live action wouldn't tarnish it and would actually be a really cool insight, as opposed to translating something from anime that's not based on live action into live action. Like Yugi Moto's hair, for example. Seeing that translated into live action would definitely not be a good idea, but also it would probably make a lot of people hate the live action from the start, because it's something that is very, I think, anime exclusive, and I don't think they should translate it into live action. But it was created in the manga, created in the anime. That hairstyle is very unique, very exclusive to Yu-Gi and the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise as a whole. So translating something like that was made in the manga and anime medium, translating that into live action is a much different story than translating something from anime and manga like a flicker jab that's already taken from real life, which is a flicker jab and boxing in real life, into live action. So it's kind of like going full circle, And I think again, it would just be kind of sick to see the differences, compare them, because now you can look at the two in a respective way for both sides. You're respecting both sides. People like me probably would have never watched boxing in the first place unless it was Hajime no Ippo, a sports anime, a boxing anime. But then if they make a sports movie, live action movie of Hajime no Ippo, which is an anime that I like, now I'm watching a live action sports movie, sports match, whatever, that's based on an anime that I like, so I can watch it feeling like I'm watching an actual boxing match, but it's still based on characters and a story that I really love and adore. So it's kind of like a gateway for me to get into sports movies. And yeah, I think it could be honestly something great, something beautiful. I mean, imagine a movie like Creed, but with Hajime no Ippo. That could be pretty sick, man. That could be pretty sick. Because yeah, otherwise I would never watch boxing. I would never watch a sports movie in general, just in my spare time. But if you made one that's about a sports anime that I actually really like, then yeah, of course I'll go see that. And imagine a sports movie coming out in this time that's based on a sports anime. You have sports fans coming in and you have anime fans coming in. So that could do pretty well. I mean, you never know. So yeah, I think I've talked enough in this video, guys, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already. That helps me out a ton. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see y'all in the next video.